Yes, indeed. I'm delighted with the invite from the
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Halo sahabat sekalian dimanapun Anda berada. Kali ini kita ada sebuah video perbandingan penguasaan bahasa Inggris antara Pak Jokowi dan Pak Anies Baswedan, di mana bagaimana yang kita ketahui bersama bahwa kedua sosok pemimpin bangsa ini, Pak Anies dan Pak Jokowi ini adalah sama-sama alumni dari UGM. Untuk Pak Jokowi alumni tahun 85 dan untuk Pak Anies alumni tahun 93. Dan nanti kita bisa lihat siapa yang paling baik penguasaan bahasa Inggrisnya dari segi komunikasi dan juga falafalan di video nanti. Dan nanti kalian bisa menilai siapa yang terbaik di antara keduanya. Baik, kita langsung saja lihat video selengkapnya terkait perbandingan penguasaan bahasa Inggris Pak Anies dan Pak Jokowi berikut ini.
Ladies and gentlemen, I would hereby like to officially nominate as the invention of the century, the selfie. The selfie has changed the world. It has now evolved into the Wi-Fi and the vlog. Here is a park in Indonesia, this in Kalibiru near Yogyakarta in Indonesia, where people are waiting in line for hours for the chance to take the perfect selfie. Bloomberg calls it the Instagram park.
A man considered in the running to become Indonesia's next president is former governor of Jakarta, Anies Baswedan, and it's a delight to welcome him into the studio. Thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you for inviting, Beverly.
Lovely to meet you. Now tell me, you've met with the Foreign Minister Penny Wong and also the RBA Governor Philip Lowe. I think every Australian wants to meet with him at the moment with these rising interest rates. It is a sign that our government is taking you very seriously and your potential presidential bid. What was important about you? What did you feel was important about coming here and meeting with someone like Penny Wong, someone like Philip Lowe?
Yes, indeed. I'm delighted with the invite from the Australian government to visit, and we both were neighbors and we'll always be neighbor, and we had worked closely on many issues, and the invite here gave me an opportunity to reconnect with many friends, academia, people in government, as well as business communities for exchange of views. We share similar challenges in the region.
Give us an idea of what are those challenges in your mind?
For example, we are experiencing challenge in the environmental issues. Climate change is definitely an issue that we have to tackle together. And then about growth and prosperity in the region. And then also balance in terms of stability in the region. So many of that, and it's always good to hear a perspective of our neighbors. And I truly appreciate Australia's stance on many issues that Indonesia is facing, and including, which is always repeated, the importance of having an integrated territorial in Indonesia. And Australia has repeatedly saying that we supported an integrated Indonesia, and that is important for us too. Yeah. And on the other hand, you know, we would like to see more people-to-people exchange. I think on the G2G partnership has been very strong. I think this is among the highest of all time. And then the business-to-business need to grow even further.
Yes, we do, because I mean that has been a criticism of President Widodo, that the development, the potential development business-wise between Australia and Indonesia has not really cemented itself. Is that a priority for you?
I think so. I think we would like to see more business engagement between Indonesia and Australia. If I'm not mistaken, Indonesia is ranked 13th as Australia business partner. We'd like to see that go up a lot higher. And we need to be on the top 10 of Australia's business partners. And for that, I think we really need to start not only just inviting Australians to come and invest in Indonesia, or we import more from Australia, but I think it's also important to underline that harvesting partnership in business, partnerships in government relationship need to start from people-to-people engagement.
But don't you think it also needs to have the right climate? Not too much bureaucracy, not too much red tape. You need those, of course, those safeguards, but you need it to be accessible, which often is a struggle for Australian businesses in Indonesia.
On the other hand, we have engagement quite extensive with business partners from different countries. So I think it is also about how we view each other, as that we need each other, and we are the closest neighbors. For Australia, Indonesia is the closest to the north, and for us, whenever we're looking to southeast, it's Australia. And I think the feeling of closeness need to be strengthened. And I think that is the area which, based on our conversation in Sydney, in Canberra, and today, I believe that is the message that we need to echo even louder.
Let's talk a little bit about the divisiveness of politics in recent years. We see it still going on in America, awful divisiveness. We had a period here in Australia which seems to be easing a little bit. You have been very heavily criticised for a very divisive campaign when you ran for governorship, and won, because you teamed up. You played the religion card, and it's kind of haunted you ever since. Do you regret it?
Let me put it this way. Whenever you have an election, and then you have competing candidates. Give you one example. If the candidates were different in terms of gender, one male and one female, then gender issue will dominate the conversation. It can be the divisive factors.
But you could have played the bigger man.
Let me continue that.
Finish, yeah.
And then if the candidates come from different ethnic groups, then ethnic issue can divide. And even sometimes when you have a referendum where there is no person, there is no faith involved, it can be divisive. Look at the Brexit, for example. It was divisive there. There is no person, there is no religion, there is no faith in there. So that is the same thing. When there is a Muslim candidate and a Christian candidate, then religious issue come into equations. So what happened?
How you play that card can be a very, very subtle, very,
right.
not ugly, not nasty.
During election, every side always label the other side. In every elections. That was in 2017. I have completed my term now, 5 years. And I didn't challenge those labeling at that time because I don't want to challenge statement with statements. So what I did is I worked 5 years in Jakarta and truly provide equal opportunity, equal treatments to all religious groups and any religious group. And in fact, we created the feeling of stability, the feeling of peace, in Jakarta, and now it's all completed. So I'm inviting everyone to judge me not based on assumption, but based on record.
So in this, you've got the backing of 3 considerable parties. One, again, is a conservative Islamist group, Islamist party. Do you undertake not to go down that path again? Will you try and keep religion out of your presidential bid?
And it has been proven that I may have support from various different groups.
Yeah.
But when it comes to making decisions, I have priorities based on 4 things. 1 is principle of equality. Number 2 is public interest. Number 3 is common sense. And number 4 is law, rules, and regulations. So it's not about who supported you, but how you make decision when you're in office. And I have gone through 5 years of service, and I think we did it according to those principles. That does not automatically reflect who supported you, but the principle is reflected in the policy.
So there was nothing owed to that support, is what you're saying?
And that's exactly the point. Sometimes you assume that if you're supported by this group and that group, then you will be acting not according to the principle of equality, the common sense, public interest, or also rules and regulations. And I have gone through 5 years proving that we can do that.
So
Therefore, looking to the future,
yes, what are those 4 things? How are you going to bring those 4 things into play? What are the issues you see in this coming election?
it's several things. But number one, we're happy with the economic growth that we are experiencing, despite the fact that we had serious contraction during COVID, which every country across the globe is experiencing. However, we need to improve the quality of our growth. What does it mean? It means growth is reflected in the numbers, the percentage of growth. But that does not reflect the distribution of that growth. Our economy has been centralized in Java and also northern coastal of Java especially. What we'd like to do is to expand into regions of Indonesia. So center for economic growth is not only in certain places, but in major area of Indonesia. So equality is something that we would like to address in the area of economic development, in the area of education, which matters a lot. If quality of education is happening across Indonesia, so parents don't have to send their kids to major cities in Java for quality education. That's 2. Number 3 is healthcare system across Indonesia. So the bottom line, and this is a major hope for people across Indonesia, is that equal access to jobs, to source of economic growth, to quality of education, to quality of healthcare. And then on top of all of that is a policy with regard to agriculture, policy with regard to fisheries, and we are a very rich natural resources country, and systematic approach on allowing equal growth across those regions is of interest in the general public.
Ya, tadi kita sudah melihat perbandingan penguasaan bahasa Inggris antara Pak Anies dan juga Pak Jokowi, dan di sini terlihat jelas sekali bahwa Pak Anies memang dari segi komunikasi bahasa Inggrisnya sangat lancar sekali, sedangkan untuk Pak Jokowi memang cukup baik juga sebenarnya seperti itu ya. Baik, mungkin itu saja yang bisa kita sampaikan dalam video kali ini. Semoga ada manfaatnya, dan seperti biasa jangan lupa like, share, dan subscribe channel ini supaya tidak ketinggalan update terbaru yang saya update di channel saya Imran Prasetya Official. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.